In case you missed it, Friday was Wear It Purple Day, which is an annual LGBTIQA plus awareness day where people choose to wear it purple should they feel like it, to support the movement, etc. and so on. Unless, of course, you're a cadet in our Australian military. Then, apparently, you have absolutely no choice. Here's Ben Fordham on 2GB this morning explaining.
Now, this was not a recommendation, it was an order. The ABC has obtained a copy of an email sent to Defence Force recruits. The directive says, and I quote, "Wearing of uniform tomorrow will be seen as an active protest against LGBTQIA+, which is not in line with defence policy." Can you believe that? Wearing your uniform is seen as a protest. Once upon a time, it was a requirement. Anyone in uniform will be required to explain why they have chosen to disobey a direct command from the commanding officer. So Defence Force recruits are going to be punished for wearing a Defence Force uniform. Are you serious?
Unbelievable. Now watch this. The absence of participating, the absence of celebrating this lifestyle, this day, etc. and so on, means now that you are actively opposing it. No, you can't just not participate. That says, according to this directive, that will be considered an active protest against LGBTIQA plus people. Now, we've seen this play out in schools over the years. This has been an awareness day that's played out in many ways across workplaces, in schools, little kids being made to feel left out if they're not wearing purple, what are you doing, etc. and so on. And here we see, keeping in mind our military is part of our government, basically. And this directive, goodness knows what kind of hierarchy it came from, but this is what young people now joining our military are being told. You will comply or you will be seen as an oppressor, as someone who is actively campaigning against.
If you were a foreign agent charged with infiltrating the Australian Defence Forces to sow discord and disharmony, I mean, you couldn't do a better job than we are doing to ourselves. The Chinese and the Russians, Caleb, must be laughing themselves to death over stuff like that. If you wear the Australian military uniform, you are disobeying orders.
Can you imagine Xi Jinping would have woken up this morning having his cornflakes and a cup of coffee and gone, this is the best story I've ever read in my life. Like when he finally decides to stage the invasion, we'll all just be standing there at the water's edge going, yeah, come on, Xi, no problem, just walk on straight in here.
Well, we'll be trying to work out what to wear.
The problem with this is that when you force someone to do something, it no longer means anything. Like they've actually shot themselves in the foot here by saying we're making this kind gesture to the LGBTIQA plus community to say we support you, we stand with you, whatever, but at the same time, you must do it. Which therefore means that the gesture of someone putting on the purple now means nothing. They're only doing it because they're told they have to do it. They're not doing it because they actually mean it, which means the whole thing means nothing.
In fact, it's worse than meaning nothing because it's totally counterproductive, because a day that was set up to provide encouragement for LGBTQ youth now becomes a controversial day that causes more division than it does inclusion.
Yeah, and of course, where does that leave Christian cadets, Muslim cadets, anyone of faith is going to go, well, what do I do now, etc. and so on. It's a deliberate alienating of people who think differently and who are more than happy for others to have a Wear It Purple Day, but can't participate for their own reasons.
Live and let live. And I suppose if you don't wear a poppy on Remembrance Day, you must hate our fallen soldiers as well. We'll see how that goes over at the ADF.